And we're so pleased to welcome to the program Andy McNamara. Let's bring him on the screen. Sportsnet fantasy expert, head football writer, ultimate franchise fantasy sports. He's always got a lot going on. Happy Wednesday, Andy. How you doing, brother?
Rod, I'm doing good, my man. Looks very sunny. Look, I got my new UFAFL and UFF Sports mug. Looking sharp there at UFFsports.com. Got to get the cheap plug in early, you know.
It's good. But hey, don't let me let you go without talking about that. But first,
Absolutely.
With your Browns, when I hear Browns news, you're the first guy I think of all the time. It used to be Chris Jones, but he's not there anymore. So now it's you.
Right.
Baker Mayfield into COVID protocol. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, into COVID protocol. What did you think when you heard the news today?
First of all, I got to get the name of that steakhouse that you can get free stuff by mentioning Chris Jones that you were saying before the break. That we can talk about that after when I'm down in Florida. I want the name of that.
Cafe Seville. Cafe Seville.
Okay, got it. But yeah, Rod, this is becoming just swarming the entire NFL, not just the Browns, but specifically in Cleveland. It has hit Baker Mayfield. You said Stefanski. It was sort of targeted to just the offensive side, but now it's moved into the defensive side. Troy Hill, who was going to miss that game anyway with a knee injury, but John Johnson, who's been a stellar cornerback for them this year in safety. This is turning into a situation where I'm hoping we don't see, like, remember last year when they made the Denver Broncos play and they had that practice squad wide receiver who played quarterback one time in high school, and they did that. That's what it's sort of trending for. They're having emergency COVID protocol meetings right now, the owners, but it looks like one way or another, that game is being played 4:30 p.m. Eastern in Cleveland, Ohio versus the Raiders, no matter who's on the field.
Well, and so, look, let's just take a sachet down the fantasy road, if you don't mind, because I just saw an article on betting and setting odds, which is different than fantasy. What kind of a wrench has COVID thrown into that, which your Sportsnet's fantasy lead? I can't imagine.
Oh, yeah. If we're talking the betting side, Vegas this morning took down that Browns game. They took it right off the board. How are you going to set a proper line not knowing who's going to come in and names being added to that COVID list every few minutes, it seems. And when it comes to fantasy, this is the very tricky part, especially for fantasy leagues where this is the first week of your playoffs. You know, we had the extra week of the season, of course, the extra game. So now this is the first week of your fantasy playoffs. And all of a sudden, you're going to be without some key players. And even if they're not out, it's going to affect them. Let's say you have Nick Chubb, a true RB1 in any fantasy league. Well, he's without at least 2, maybe 3 of his starting offensive linemen and his quarterback. So what does that do to his value? That's going to shrink that. And then you go really just all across the league with normal injuries, all the COVID situations and anything that can pop up. It's going to be an interesting playoffs because it's going to be a case. And I advise people all year, make sure your bench depth, those bench spots, especially later in the year, you have people in each type of position. Don't just load up on wide receivers. Have that spare tight end if you can. Have a couple running back. Have a wide receiver, maybe even a quarterback, depending on the depth. But you have to prepare for surprises like this.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Browns, I don't know if you would say surprised last year, but they did have a deep playoff run. 7-6, second place in that crowded AFC North. This doesn't help things. How do you see the last few weeks playing out here in the NFL? Because there's a lot of teams just on the cusp of the playoff picture looking in. This is a wild ending upcoming.
It really is. And Rod, I can't remember the last time that we were this far in the season where truly you could look at either conference, and I think more so the AFC, and not have a true Super Bowl favorite. Right? Like not have it's definitely the Chiefs and, it's definitely them. Well, it could be the Chiefs. It could be the Patriots. Not many people saw that coming. Still could be the Buffalo Bills, maybe. What about the Tennessee Titans? There's so many real what ifs as far as people who could make it to the Super Bowl. And in the NFC, I think the de facto, because Tom Brady is there, is Tampa Bay. But even in that spot, there is so much parity, which is exciting to a degree. But if you're thinking of betting or who's going to be best on your fantasy team, if they're spreading the ball around or in those dreaded running back committees, it makes it really tough. So yeah, that AFC North, is going to be, I think, a battle of attrition because Lamar Jackson's got a rolled ankle. I don't think any of those teams necessarily are going to be a wild card team to get into the playoffs out of the AFC North this year. I think you have to win the damn thing.
But over to the NFC. I mean, I wish we had more time, but Sam wants to know, are the Rams on the rise? I did not see them going into Arizona and winning on Monday night, but they did, and they look good. Have they got their adversity out of the way, and the Rams are now a legit Super Bowl favorite in the NFC?
It's interesting, Rod, because I felt they sort of went through a similar fog like the Kansas City Chiefs did for a few weeks, right? And maybe the Chiefs aren't even fully out of it, but where you had your star players underperforming, the offense wasn't working. That happened for a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks with LA, and now they're starting to get sorted back out. They're starting to refine their identity. And even great teams go through these little patches. So I think the way the Rams are built, the defense, any team who has Aaron Donald, we know what he can do. That defense is good enough. The offense you have, as long as Matt Stafford can stay healthy, and that is a very real if with that back and everything that goes along with it, some leg issues too. But he's got the weapons and he can distribute the ball. And then you have good enough backs in Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel that can make the running game legitimate, can make teams not just tee off and blitz you all the time. You have to respect it. So I think the Rams, when we talk about contenders, have to be considered right up there at this point. Stafford's never been there. Sean McVay has been to the show. So this is going to be Matthew Stafford's first real shot, and no more excuses of being like, I was on the Lions, so what could I do? Now you're going to have a real shot to have some playoff success. So we'll see, but I think the pieces are there for sure.
Viewers love the fantasy talk. Tell us about Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports, if you don't mind, in the time we have left. Because if they love fantasy, they are going to want to know about this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Rod. You got to check out uffsports.com. We have the Ultimate Fantasy American Football League, which is the current fantasy, which is a sweet mug I got right here. Got the hat behind me, too. That's 32 teams we got going on. We have athletes. Chris Carter, Michael Vick owns a team. A Las Vegas hotel owner from Circa, he owns a team. We got millionaires. We got everyday people doing that league. But on aosports.tv this Thursday, tomorrow evening, starting at 7:30 p.m., we're going to have the American Football Legends League auction. I'm going to be hosting that, and we're going to have the player auction where it's going to be auctioning off the playing contracts for esports for the video game Access Football that we're partnering with, and Rod, that we're going to be airing, recording, and broadcasting on AO Sports TV every game. So you're going to be able to see all the start and answer those questions. But the great thing about this league, and where I'm going to be interested where this player auction goes, how much these players sell for to our 16 franchises, is going to be you can actually answer those questions that you have in the bar with friends or whatever over years. Well, how would Joe Montana face again, or how would Otto Graham at quarterback deal with Reggie White charging at him? How would Chris Carter and Jerry Rice on the same team look? We can answer those questions in this league head to head and watch it, and that's what's going to be so cool. And it really kicks off on Thursday. The season's going to be February 6th, but you get to see where the players go and for how much on aosports.tv tomorrow at 7:30 p.m.
Awesome. It's going to be great. Andy, wonderful insights, man. Thanks for the time. Stay safe, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, you too, Rod. Have a good time. Talk to you later.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.